Hey, everybody, how you doing? Well, that's good. Welcome to PHLY Flyers, presented by Bet365. Download the Bet365 app and use code PHLY365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. My name is Bill Matz. I messed up my own name.
That's all right.
My name is Bill Matz. I'm your director of fun and games for the evening.
You didn't mess up the ad read, so that's the really important
I was thinking so much about that. I was like, who are you again? I don't know.
You're doing great.
Joining me, as always, Philadelphia's #1 hockey beat writer, Charlie O'Connor, and the fly by herself, Kelly Hinkle. All right, guys. We have some preseason stuff to go over from last night's game. There's a game again tonight. I didn't know it was going to be on TV until someone tweeted Charlie. So no pre or post game. We're doing this, but we'll talk to you all about it for the rest of the week. We're here every day. It continues to happen. Don't worry. We'll get to it. And then we have our predictions. I want to knock out all this preseason stuff in like 15 to 20 minutes so that we have the rest of the show for the predictions.
All right, buckle down.
Can we do it? I doubt it.
I'm not going to derail the show today.
So you're saying other days maybe.
I do it all the time.
But not today.
I'm
Not
the host
today.
and I derail the show on a regular basis. All right. So Alexei Kolosov, last night against the Islanders. I like that you put it in your article, Charlie, your wrap-up, how we kind of talked yesterday. Like, oh, so you think you're ready for the NHL, huh? Well, here's the NHL's Islanders. And
then
He looked kind of ready for the
did.
NHL.
Yeah.
listen, it's a half of one preseason game. I'm not saying, oh, well, he should be the starter. But he looked pretty good, right?
He did look pretty good.
He looked
better than
He looked fast.
Floppity Fedorov.
flippity flop.
Yeah.
Love that
All
alliteration.
over the place.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Truly love it. I think what this game, and it was nice, honestly, because all I've been wanting is to just talk about the hockey. It's all I've been asking for. Let's just talk about the hockey. Not all the other stuff, just the hockey. And it was nice to get a reminder that there actually is a reason why we've been talking about this dude, that he's actually a legitimately good goalie prospect. It just was a nice reminder that, there is a reason why we are paying attention to this saga. He played quite well, and as Kelly put it, he very noticeably outplayed Ivan Fedotov. Yeah. It was one game. It's a small sample. I'm not making any sweeping generalizations based on the quality of both off of one game. But in this one game, they went head-to-head, and Alexei Kolosov was the more impressive goalie.
So, is there a world in which the goalie we're paying nearly $4 million becomes the third goalie on the depth chart?
I don't think it would happen right away.
Not right away, but can we imagine a world for a second where the Flyers have almost $9 million in AHL goaltenders?
Oh, man. With Cal Peterson
that's funny.
Between Cal Peterson and Ivan
That's
Fedotov?
real funny.
In the first week of 2025, do you think it's at least a possibility?
I find it hard to imagine a world where they would send Ivan Fedotov to the minors. Now, they certainly could. There's nothing in the contract that prevents it. And if he's bad enough to justify a demotion, no one's going to claim him at that cap hit.
Exactly.
But I have to believe that if it ever got to that point, that they would have a conversation with Fedotov about, do you want to stay here? My guess, and this is just a guess, this isn't based off of any conversations I've had, if it got to the point where Fedotov was struggling significantly and Kolosov is down in the minors and killing it, and they want to make a change, I don't think they would send Fedotov down. I think they would just bring Kolosov up and stop dressing Fedotov. He would stay with the team, and they would just have three goalies. That's my suspicion, just because this is a guy who came over here. Yeah. Also, he's part of the Mishkov crew. He's part of the Russian-speaking Mishkov crew.
Kolosov's got to speak Russian, right? Close enough.
True, but based on what I heard about him in Allentown, he's a little on the sullen side.
Yeah, he seems like he
He
sucks.
might not be the most social.
Just saying. So I would have to think that before they ever had a conversation about sending him down, first they would go three goalies. And then before they even considered going the waivers route, they would have a conversation with him and his agent and be like, look, it's January. You've got an .860 save percentage. This doesn't seem to be working out. Are you open to the idea of working out some sort of termination when you can just go back to the KHL? That, to me, would probably be the nuclear option. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they would send him down in the minors. But based on his age and the fact that he was a high-end KHL goalie, I just can't see a world where they park him in the minors.
And I mean, like, alternatively, Fedotov is good. And then we have quite a nice, shiny little trade piece.
That's fair.
That's
hanging out down there in the minors.
If there's a situation where Fedotov is, 903 save percentage, looks like a perfectly average NHL backup, or maybe more than that, yeah, maybe they could say, look, we don't have room for you anymore. But
I'm saying Kolosov.
There are two teams that I'm saying Fedotov too.
Oh yeah, could do.
Kolosov, yeah, maybe.
I'm thinking of a trade, maybe an intercontinental trade, so we can bring Zavragin over.
Yeah. Just
Now, I'm not getting us derailed. See, I said
the master of the shiny neutral discourse.
I'm not doing it.
He's the guy now that we have to obsess about getting over as soon as humanly possible.
Everyone has these like illegal streams that they've been watching Mishkov on for the last couple of years, and now suddenly, just renew. We gotta watch Zavragin, but we'll talk about that tomorrow or something. This was me. I was the one who did it. All right.
Sure
the
did.
other guys. Let's start
Funny
with
movie.
That's why I did it.
Very good movie. The other guys and the nice guys both came out around the same year, and they're both great.
Aren't we not derailing the show?
No, I totally wanted to derail the show there.
The first 10 minutes, I mean, when they jump off the building, is the funniest thing ever. Anyway,
So good.
let's start with a couple of guys who, as Charlie would say, haven't exactly showered themselves in glory.
I love that turn.
It's very, very
One
funny.
of my favorites.
Yes.
Adam Jitting, Helge Grans.
Yeah, not great. Bob.
It's probably over.
You would have to think, right?
I'm so done with Adam Jitting.
I don't think it ever was a thing with Helge Grans.
No.
I don't think he ever really had a serious chance of making this team. He's the kind of guy where, maybe if there's a bunch of injuries, he could get a call-up. I don't think he ever had a chance of making the team out of camp, and certainly after he got turnstile by Kyle Palmieri to end last night's game, he's certainly not making the team. Jitting, though, there was a path for him to potentially make this club as the 8th defenseman. He was in that NHL group once they had the first cut downs in camp. It was him, Luchanko, and Lycksell were skating with the NHLers. That told me that at least from the first part of camp, they were impressed with what they saw from Adam Jitting. But basically, since that moment, he's been underwhelming to bad in all of the games he's played in.
People kept telling me that I was dumb and that he was a very solid defensive defenseman. And what am I looking at? No, never, not for a second. Enough already with this guy.
He's just kind of a guy. He's just out there.
They never should have picked him with the pick that they picked him with, and he never should be in consideration. Just go be a Phantoms. Thank you for your service. We're good. We're good on Adam Jitting.
I would have to agree with you.
Yes.
I do not see it in Adam Jitting. I have never really seen it in Adam Jitting. He's had some moments. I thought when he got called up to the NHL with Ronnie Adder in March of last year, I thought he was fine. He looked like a passable NHL defenseman, and I think that got them a little excited. Now, I cannot imagine them watching the last 3 preseason games he's been in and being anything other than stifling vomit, because it's been bad.
Real bad.
Our predictions are coming up in a little bit, but I'm going to predict that people really turn on Olle Lycksell when it's basically they connect the dots that this is the reason Jett Luchanko got sent back to Guelph. We had a guy make the team. It's not who you wanted.
It's gonna be Tony Dix.
I really like Tony Dick.
Could be Tony Dick.
He's been good, man. He's been good.
Wait, why are we pluralizing dicks?
It feels right.
It's just one dick.
I know it feels right. As a nickname, Tony Dix.
He's not Richards. He's Richard.
I'm just.
Well, we do that. Alshon Jeffries.
And it's always
Flows
wrong.
off the tongue.
I mean, we're calling him Richard and it's Richard. I think we can pluralize.
Yeah.
But Lycksell, do you think he makes this team?
It's a good question. I think Luchanko is still very much in the mix, and I think Anthony Richard is very much in the mix. Anthony Richard is getting tonight's game, whereas Olle Lycksell is not. So that's notable.
That's interesting, yes.
But that said, Lycksell did get the back-to-back last week, so perhaps it's just a thought of, well, maybe we're dumping a little bit too much on this guy. But the fact that Richard is getting the second game with one Jett Luchanko, he's on a line with him,
and
that's interesting.
This looks like the closest we've seen to an opening night lineup tonight.
John Tortorella straight up said that this is going to be the lineup closer to a dress rehearsal as opposed to Thursday when they were playing the Utica Comets.
And hopefully no one good is playing.
Yeah. When I saw the lineup for tonight, I was like, okay, so it's the real top 6 is playing. Brink is in there. Like, there's a couple of guys. Yeah. It's like, okay, no, but like Luchanko, like Hathaway.
Basically,
this is an NHL-ish lineup. The top 4 defense.
The only NHL players that are not in the lineup are the NHL players that played last night. Mm-hmm. So you don't have Zamula and Ristolainen because they played last night. You don't have Farabee. You don't have Palin. Yeah. But all of the NHLers that didn't play last night are playing tonight.
Yeah. So if this is it, and then the Albany River Rats game is just I
love that you're still calling them the Albany River Rats. I respect it.
When you get left behind to play in the preseason game, like, you're not even, that's what you are. You're the Albany River Rats.
Yeah. Noted.
All right. Oliver Bonk's still here. The coach not exactly complimentary. I wouldn't say was like...
He didn't bury him.
He didn't bury him. It was just like, this is what he needs to do. He's still here to learn, right. But I don't think it's like, oh yeah, and we're going to give him the 9 games. Like, that's not, I think, on the table with Oliver Bonk.
This is not a Luchanko situation where Bonk is here and because he is playing tonight. But Bonk is not playing for a job tonight. Bonk is playing because they're very high on him and they think they can turn him into something legitimately really good over the next 1, 2, 3 years. Luchanko is in the game because they haven't ruled out putting him on the roster. Bonk, on the other hand, as you mentioned, John Tortorella was asked about him today after practice, actually during practice, because he doesn't do the pregame skates. He actually talks to us while the players are on the ice.
Rude.
Tortorella basically said he needs to play faster. Love the upside, really like the player. He's smart. He needs to play faster. He does everything too slow.
Is this one of those situations where it's like, the dude put up crazy numbers in the OHL last year. And sure, there's other things he could work on down there. But, man, if it weren't for age restrictions, he's the perfect candidate to, like, be in between. Like, you need to be in the AHL, so nice. You're a step away, but you're still a step up from where you are.
Yes.
Because the thing we need you to do, like, you're not going to learn in the OHL because it's that much slower.
Yes. Yeah. I actually, if you're going to look at Bonk and Luchanko, and I know we've had the Luchanko debate a bunch of times, I think Luchanko can still learn things in the OHL because I want him to develop his creativity and his offensive game. I honestly, if you told, because we've said, well, it'd be great if we could send him to the AHL. I would rather him be in the OHL. Whereas with Bonk, I would much rather Bonk be in the AHL because I think the things that Bonk needs to work on, he can very much work on those things in the AHL. I would have the same concern putting Luchanko in the AHL at age 18. I would be like, it's definitely a faster, less space game than the OHL. So I would have the exact same concerns throwing him in the minors. Whereas with Bonk, I want him to play faster and think faster. And that's going to happen if you're playing against adults rather than just dominating every OHL team you play because you're on the all-star team that is the London Knights.
What do you make of Risto's strong preseason?
I'm into it.
What if he's good now?
That's great.
He's been good for
for us.
But, like, he's been good since Bradshaw and John Tortorella got their hands on him. Yes. He's added elements to his game. He's become actually a good defensive defenseman.
Overpaid, but good.
Not like worthy of the contract, but it was, he must be good defensively. He's big.
Right.
And now it's like, he actually does what we think he used to do. Yeah. What if he continues to add elements and, like, maybe we see some of the point production, just a little bit of it that we saw in Buffalo?
I mean, that would be really good, William. It would be great if that would happen because, like, the likelihood is that we're stuck with him. So it would be really great if he continues to get better. And then maybe if he continues to get better enough, we can get out from under the contract.
That's kind of where I'm at in that.
That's what I would like to happen, but
it would be a very good thing if he gets off to a hot offensive start. And I'm not saying it's like point per game or anything. Let's not get crazy here. But if it's the end of November and he's got 12 points, that would dramatically increase his theoretical trade value around the league. Whereas maybe you have some team that thinks they need some truculence on the back end and says to themselves, well, they've unearthed the old Risto, except now he's better because he's not a total black hole at 5-on-5. Sure, we'll give you a second-round pick for Rasmus Ristolainen. That would be the best possible scenario for the Flyers, and then they can call up one of their kids.
You just need to get Jonesy. to periodically give a little call to his friend Chief up in Toronto. Be like, hey, you been seeing Risto?
I was
You guys
listening.
don't really have anyone like him.
Well, they have Tanev now.
Yeah, I was listening
for the
to.
playoffs.
I was listening to Tree Living on Chicklets today, and they're like, I believe in building from the blue line out. We added some length to our blue line. I was like, you want some more?
Some more?
You want some more?
You need some truculence?
Yeah. All right. So Emil Andrae, probably not making the team, but first call up defenseman.
I think he has by far been the best
Yes.
of the younger defensemen in camp.
Yes.
I think honestly he's been good. He has maybe not been as flashy this camp as he was last camp, but I think he's made significantly fewer mistakes at this camp than he made in last camp.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's close.
All right, we've done it, fam. Before we get to the predictions,
Let's go.
I gotta hit you with some of the ads here, and luckily they're good ones today.
Yay.
They're good ones every day. I love our sponsors. Let's go to Game Time, baby. That's right. Game Time. Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets for your favorite live events even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching for thousands of tickets. Now, we know that's a great new feature for Game Time, but they still have all the old features that made it a great app for finding secondary market tickets as well. The all-in pricing. You get to see what the price is before you get all the way to the end and have already made up your mind. You get the seat views, get a panoramic view from your seat, lowest price guarantee. Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference if you find tickets in the same section and row for less, and the Game Time ticket coverage. Your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code PHLY for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code PHLY for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time.
Time, baby.
And while we're here, listen, you're making the smart move by going with Game Time for your game tickets. It's also a smart move to make that move from your big bank to a credit union like TrueMark Financial Credit Union. And I know that sounds like a big pain. They know that sounds like it too. So they've made the switch super easy. You have your debit card. You have all your bills on auto pay, all those things, direct deposit. You can figure out how to make this super easy switch just by going to TrueMark.com/PHLY. Why do you want to do it? I've told you about the ownership structure. We know the big banks are in it to make money for themselves, where a credit union like TrueMark, well, it's a not-for-profit financial co-op owned by members. That's right, people just like you. So if you live or work in Bucks, Chester, Delaware, Montgomery, or Philadelphia County, you're eligible to join, and member benefits include great rates, lower fees, and personalized service. You'll have advisors on in each branch. The dozens locally that you can go in and visit that'll help you with personalized financial planning and expertise. TrueMark Financial is federally insured by the NCUA as an equal opportunity lender. For more information, visit TrueMark.com/PHLY. All right, let's do it. It's predictions time, everybody.
There we go, boys.
And we're going to start off with our Flyers predictions today. The team awards, the playoffs, all of that stuff. And let's lead it off. Let's lead it off with who we like to win the Bobby Clarke Award, the MVP for the Philadelphia Flyers in 2024-25. The media votes on this one, so we'll start it off with the media. Charlie, who do you have winning the MVP?
Okay, well,
for the Flyers.
I'm gonna make this pick mostly to state with certainty that I am bullish on this guy. I'm going with Sam Ersson.
Oh,
because I think he's going to be good this year. I think if he has a good year as the starting goalie for this team, while I do think that Matvei Michkov is going to be good this year and he's going to have a very strong rookie year, I think there might be some hesitancy to give the MVP to a rookie unless he is unbelievably good. And I'm going with the idea that Sam Ersson is going to play like the goalie from the first half of the year all year. And if that happens, I think he would have a very strong case for the MVP. I remain bullish on one Sam Ersson, so he's my pick.
Nice.
I'm trying to I bet you Czechia probably won one back. When do you think the last time a Flyers goalie won team MVP was?
Got to be a while.
Did Hart win once?
He may have.
I think Hart won once.
He may have.
Let's continue to talk.
Yeah.
I will go and
Kelly,
check
who do you have winning the Bobby Clarke Trophy?
So I picked Michkov.
There you go.
Because he's going to break every rookie scoring record on the books, obviously. Like, that's a guarantee.
Clearly.
And also because despite what Charlie says, I feel like his people love a story and a narrative. And, like, what could be easier to write than, like, rookie phenom is MVP of team? Seems like an easy layup for you and your pals up there in the press box.
Well, I think I have come across a story that's even better than that.
Okay.
The guy scratched just a month after being named captain of the team.
Oh, baby.
Comes all the way back and regains his Selke Trophy form, more on that later, to lead this team and win the MVP. Sean Couturier.
I like it.
I have winning team MVP. I do think there's a little bit of we want to give it to more of a veteran and a guy we can maybe interview for a story about this.
Fair.
And also, maybe we don't want to give it to a rookie. And Coots has been here a long time. He's always kind of been in someone else's shadow. Not that Michkov isn't casting a huge shadow already, but it's his team now. There ain't no one else. Yeah. It's him.
Wearing the C.
Yeah.
First full season with the C.
Starting the year with the C, he's going to be counted on maybe a little bit less for the offense, but that's good. He can focus on what he's best at. And when he's doing what he's best at, that turns defense into offense. Mm-hmm. And I think he's going to have a pretty good year. Some of me absolutely just trying to speak this into existence because a bounce back Couturier is the best possible scenario for this team. Is. And I figured you were both going to go with Michkov. And so I make a lot of my picks just like I want to win. Mm-hmm. And then I don't win anything.
Well, peek behind the curtain. Charlie and I put ours on the outline, and we don't know what Bill's going to say.
Yeah, all mine are a surprise. I like to surprise you. I don't think anyone here had me picking Coots. No. That's my first one. I have Sean Couturier.
This would be Coots' fourth team MVP.
Okay.
He won 3 straight team MVPs in 2018-2019, 2019-2020, and then 2020-2021. Carter Hart did win team MVP in 2022-2023. So it has not been that long ago since we as a Flyers media voted for a goalie as team MVP.
I would be very pleased if either of you ends up being right because things would be going very well
if
either of these scenarios are working out.
I was just thinking so the goalie won MVP of a non-playoff team. That's rough.
No.
That's rough. But if Ersson were to do it, you would assume
if he's that good,
they're in the playoffs and then some.
Yeah.
And
if Selke Coots were in the playoffs,
TK or Michkov winning means very little to me in terms of how well everything else went.
We know Konechny is
Konechny's going to score 30.
Yeah, we know he's good,
and we're pretty sure Michkov is really good.
Yeah. He's going to get his points.
Our expectations now are high, and it's so that means he does what we expect him to do.
Yeah.
If someone else wins, it's the team's good.
Yeah.
So other people did stuff.
Yeah. And I was going to make the argument, but now I'm rethinking it. I was going to make another argument in Sam Erson's favor, is that John Tortorella can't scratch him. But if Kolosov comes up,
I was going to say, they can carry 3 goalies.
I think Tortorella would much rather scratch Ivan Fedotov simply because John Tortorella is 5'6".
I was going to say.
He doesn't want that 7-foot monster walking around.
Right. He's too tall. He can't trust tall people.
He's not as easily able to intimidate him as he is a Travis Konechny.
I'll have to keep an eye on this because, when goalies are the backup, they sit at the end of the bench. Is Fedotov still taller than John Tortorella standing behind the bench?
Is on the platform. Torts is on the platform, and he's sitting down, and they're just
I need it to be
high
level.
That's good stuff. All right, let's go to the Barry Ashbee Trophy, the Flyers' best defenseman. Let's lead it off. The media votes on this as well, but we're going to start with Broad Street Hockey's own Kelly Henkel.
I went with the safe bet, which is Travis Sanheim, because I just assume that he's going to be the Flyers' best defenseman again.
The points.
Yeah.
He probably will put up points. He's been a good even strength scorer for quite a few years, but last year, obviously, he took a big step. Career highs. Good stuff. Sanheim, I think he's probably the chalk pick.
Yeah.
I think realistically
safe
there
pick.
are probably 2 other players who have a shot at this. I went with one of them. I went with Cam York, building off of his second half, hopefully
I like
scoring
it.
some more points. Maybe he ends up as the defenseman on power play 2, and power play 2 maybe is a little bit better. Who knows? I'm guessing Drysdale will be on the unit with Mishkov, but hey,
You would have
One-
to.
you
one
never
hopes.
know. I think York takes another step this year and secures that bag on a big new contract. And we're talking about going into next season, Cam York being the clear-cut best defenseman on the team, rather than it just being an argument.
I think in my head, Cam York is the favorite. One, because that's just more interesting. Like, all right, and Sanheim won again. We have a decent enough, top pair. That's like, oh, that's a good second pair. I am going a little off the board on this one as well.
Yes.
It's Risto, baby.
Oh, yeah.
It's
I don't
Risto.
think he has any
Let's
chance.
I think there's a chance he's on power play
Kevin
too.
Kerr's voting for him, no
He
doubt.
does the hits.
Does do a lot of the hits.
He does hits.
Fewer than before, but he does do a lot of the hits.
I think he's going to put it all together for maybe the first time in his career at age, what are we looking at here? On October 27th, he will turn 30 years old.
Is it
He's a big 3-0.
Wow.
Is it going to be weird to give him that award after he's been traded at the deadline
Well,
to a contender?
did Sean Walker get any votes?
This was part of. We talked like, do you think Sean Walker can win this if he's not
I know.
on the team?
Seriously.
I actually asked that question to Flyers PR. I was like, what's the policy on voting for Sean
They
Walker?
were just like, God damn it,
They
Charlie.
could you
were
not, Charles?
Look, I
Could you
guess
not?
we can't stop you from putting names on a ballot, but obviously
He's not winning.
he's not on the team.
Do you understand what we're trying to do
Yeah.
here?
Yeah.
Like,
We're
could
trying
you
to
not?
give this award to somebody who's here, Charlie.
Yeah, we do like a whole thing on the ice. Like, could you not?
He was real good for
He was
2/3
very
of the
good.
year.
He was their best defenseman.
I'm
Without question.
surprised, though, that no one took the home run swing and is picking Jamie Drysdale. I know that he has a long way to go, but
I'm nervous,
in a
Charles.
world where Mishkov improves the power play dramatically, there could be a world where Drysdale is still meh at 5-on-5, but finishes with 40 points because he picks up
I know, but
22
it's
points
not
in the power
just
play.
points.
For a lot of voters,
Oh,
It is a media vote.
could you guys
But
do better?
I will say, I think Rasmus Ristolainen has a better chance of sticking around than I thought. Not so much because of, maybe he finally puts it together at age 30. That would be cool. Because there just won't be as much urgency because Hunter McDonald looks like he's going to take some time.
Yeah.
It's going to be a little while.
yeah, John
and
Zuccarello
his-
today said he still looks very raw.
Yes.
So,
His,
That's a kind
at
way to
least,
put it.
playing style replacement
Not ready.
not quite as close as, oh, yeah, he's going to get NHL games this year. Yeah, maybe if they're out of it in April.
Yeah,
Like,
maybe.
yeah, that's a possibility.
Yeah.
But
6 guys
I don't
doing it.
think Hunter McDonald, who I still think has a good chance of doing something, but perhaps not this season based on everything I've seen out of him in the rookie games
I'm not ready
and the
to say
preseason.
I'm not ready to write him off for the season, but I am ready to say that he's at least going to get a couple months down there.
Yeah.
And I guess because Ginning and Addard have done so little, and Grans, like they've done so little to separate themselves. Like after Andre, McDonald still might be number 2.
He's still here,
Yeah.
and he's playing in tonight's game, which is functionally a dress rehearsal.
Okay.
That tells me that I think your initial call-ups, your 3 call-ups are Andre, if it's a puck mover, in terms of injuries. If it's a Drysdale or a Sanheim or a York who goes down, they're bringing up Andre. If it is a Risto or even a Sealer, then I think it's whoever is playing better between Ginning and McDonald. And I think then there's everybody else.
So if
That's-
Mark Strike's penis falls off, it's Emil Andrae. And everyone else. It's still the greatest thing that's ever happened. All right, so that's the Ashbee. Kelly had Sanheim, Charlie had York, and I'm going with Risto.
I like it.
That's the home run swing here. I guess Drysdale would be, but it's like, oh man, I just need to see him play.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Like-
Just be
like,
just like play a full
I
season
really-
and be okay.
Again, that's one of those things. If it's Jamie Drysdale,
Things are great.
this team is in the playoffs.
Yes.
They might be top 3 in the division.
I don't know if I agree with that. Because I could see a world, as I said, where
All right, where
Drysdale isn't that
he
good,
just puts up
but
the
puts
points.
up a ton of points, and then you say, well, the power play went from being dead last with a bullet to like the 12th best power play, and Jamie Drysdale is the second biggest reason aside from Mishkov.
I was gonna
I can see it.
if this. I was just thinking, what number is he gonna go with? Like for the big jump, like 12th best
12th
sounds
best.
impossible. I was like, if
No
they're
way,
if
never.
they're in the top 20, either Mishkov or Drysdale's winning an NHL award.
Top half of the league would be wild.
That would be insane. All right, let's go to my favorite team award, the PHLY Lindbergh Memorial Award for the most improved player.
Bill, please tell me you voted Sanheim.
I really, really thought about putting Sanheim as the joke because that time has now passed. Last year was the time to get him as third, but now he's like essentially the team's number one defenseman. Like unless he wins the Norris, he's not winning most improved. So I am going to go with Bobby Brink.
Ooh.
I thought about Brink.
like it.
I thought was one of the obvious candidates. I really like the way he started the season last year. Like I think through New Year's he was on like a 40-some point pace, and then just really hit the wall, got demoted. He's making a strong case for himself in this preseason that he is locked into a top 9 spot. He's not on that bubble that we thought was a possibility he was on. At least maybe he gets some scratches. Like maybe it's Cates, maybe it's him. Who knows who comes out of the lineup, if D'Lo's going to play or Lycksell's going to make this team, whatever it is. I think he's made enough of a case for himself that I really like what I'm seeing out of Brink. And if this power play is just a little bit better, he might be a big part of that.
That's true.
I'm going Bobby Brink as most improved.
I like it.
Kelly, most improved.
Okay, I'm a coward and put down 2 because I couldn't decide.
I put you for 1 on the thing.
Okay, I had Drysdale and Frost as my 2 I was choosing between. I think I'm going to go Frost.
All
I'm
right.
gonna go Morgan Frost. I feel like, Michkov may just help his points total a little bit.
I could see it because it does seem like, number one, and we talked about this yesterday, Mishkov is showing the most early chemistry with Frost. So that presumably would help his chances of staying on a line with him for an extended period of time. Second, it also seems like they're using Frost a lot on the power play with Mishkov.
Yes.
And and again, this is a stretch because we don't know. We've seen a real bad power play for multiple years. If the Flyers power play takes even a moderate level up, that will dramatically help Morgan Frost's points as long as he's on a unit with Mishkov. And right now, it looks like he's gonna be, because that's something I was thinking about when I was deciding who I was going to take for this award, this prediction, is who has the highest likelihood of staying on that top unit with Mishkov. Like it's going to be Drysdale, I would assume, unless he really, really stinks there. Frost seems like he's getting the early looks. Konechny's almost certainly going to be on it. So then you're like, okay, who are the other guys? I'm going with Tyson Forster.
All right.
I think Forster,
so.
he showed me a lot last year, and I think he's going to take a big step this year. I could see him scoring 30. And if he scores 30, I think he wins this award.
Okay.
I could definitely see that, and it's I think Frost wouldn't have much of a chance if the media voted on this because they'd just be like, "Oh, he's playing with Mishkov."
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, you really improved.
This is the
yes, you
homies.
passed the puck to the good guy. Congratulations. Listen, if this power play gets better, everyone deserves most improved.
Fair.
Maybe they can give it. Maybe they could give it to Rocky Thompson. I think is that a possibility? But since teammates vote on it, I think that gives Frost more of a chance.
Okay.
But Forster giving it to Frost, maybe as an FU to the coach too. Like, see?
Yeah.
But
why'd you scratch
Forster is more of like the classic, he took the sophomore jump. So this just makes sense. And it's not as much of a joke as giving it to like a 26-year-old.
Yeah.
One guy who I also seriously considered for this, because I do think there is a very plausible path to him having what appears to be a breakout year, but in reality, it isn't that implausible, is Joel Farabee. And the reason is that if you combine first 2/3 of the year Joel Farabee at even strength and have him do that for a full year, which doesn't seem that crazy.
No.
If you combine that with Joel Farabee ending up on power play 1 and getting a ton of power play points, suddenly you're talking about a guy who scores 70. And if he does that, which again, I do not think is out of the realm of possibility, he'll win this in a walk.
And he's like lead homie in the locker room.
It's true. Everybody likes
And the
Joel.
homies vote on the award.
Yeah.
And speaking of maybe giving the finger to the coach, everyone could just be like, Oh, yeah, Joel Farabee, huh? Line 3. Like,
Okay.
yeah. Well, guess what? He's our most improved player.
I still don't think him on line 3 is like a punishment. It's just a testament to how good the first 2 lines are.
Okay.
It is. I mean, like, they have good wingers.
Teams
That's the
good
thing.
fools. Yeah.
Do we have any centers? Time will tell. They do have some good wingers, though. Like,
I got guys.
it is possible. All right, and the final team award. That was it for the team awards. I only did the 3, like the class guy. I don't
Yeah,
know.
We
who
have
Who
leading
cares?
score.
Yeah, so we're just going to go with who leads the team
Right.
in scoring, and both of your answers are the same.
Guess who we picked? You'll never guess.
Yeah, we picked Mishkov.
Yeah, it's Mishkov.
I decided to go with Travis Konechny.
I think that's.
I think it's one of those
honestly,
two dudes.
I think that is probably the most likely.
I just listen. Mishkov, I think, is going to score more than maybe I initially thought.
120 points.
Yeah, maybe he does put up 120 points, and then he'll probably walk away with this thing. But it's been TK for a couple of years. I think we can pencil him in for 30 goals. Like, that's a thing for Travis Konechny now.
Yeah.
And it's been a thing for him, one, without anyone with the playmaking ability of Matvei Mishkov on the power play, and two, just any power play production whatsoever. If it just adds on to his total, like if he scores 40 goals and has 75, 80 points, it's really hard to imagine a world in which he doesn't lead this team in scoring.
Yeah.
I like a lot of these players, but outside of Mishkov, none of them are potential superstars.
Nah.
Konechny's still really good. He's making almost $9 million. Like, it is kind of on him to lead the way offensively. And he has very well for the last couple of years. If he stays healthy, yes, it could very well be Matvei. But I got to give it to the dude who knows what he's doing.
It's either one of these two dudes.
Yeah.
One of us is going to
Anyone else, it's like,
It'll be a surprise.
Yeah,
like,
everyone else would be a
Owen
real
Tippett.
shock.
So he scored 40, huh?
Love that
Like,
for
that's
him.
that's what it would be, and that would
Great
be a big
news.
surprise.
Yeah.
Wrapping this thing up, I guess the most pressing matter: do the Philadelphia Flyers make the playoffs? Stanley Cup playoff bound in 2025.
Locked 100% making the playoffs.
Kelly, I am shocked.
You and I both.
Shocked.
You and I have both already stated that we believe this team is going to make the playoffs.
They're making the playoffs.
Charlie O'Connor, will the Philadelphia Flyers play in the Stanley Cup playoffs?
So my initial response to this was no. But then I took a step back and I thought about it this way. This time last year, I was very purposely, scheduling things in early May, operating under the assumption, like life things, operating under the assumption that there was no chance the Flyers were going to make the playoffs. And I thought to myself, would I do that this year? And I thought 100% no. I would not accept an RSVP to an event. I would not schedule a vacation the same way I did last year in early May.
Charlie was freaking out about
Ladies
the last
and
couple of
gentlemen,
games of the season.
Yeah,
We got
sure
him.
was. But this year, I would not do that. And it's because
One of us.
on some level, I think there is a very good chance they make the playoffs this year. So,
right.
you know what? If that is my gut, even my subconscious gut, I'm going to say, yeah. I don't think the Metro is very good.
No.
I believe in the Rangers, the Canes, and the Devils as playoff teams. I believe in no one else in that division. So if I think the Flyers very possibly could be the fourth best team in that division, that means all they got to do is be better than the other teams in the Atlantic. And I don't think that is unlikely. I think it's about a coin flip, truthfully. I do.
Got
one
him.
of us now.
We have
He's
him.
fighting it, but he's
so
one
the
of us.
regular season ends on Thursday, April 17th in Buffalo. Are you telling me for that Sunday, Shane Gostisbehere's birthday, I shouldn't make plans?
No.
We're going to be doing a post game.
Yep.
Sure. Let's go with that.
I like that everyone knows what I mean when I say Shane Gostisbehere's birthday now.
But seriously, my first instinct was no, they're not going to make the playoffs. They're not good enough. There's too many questions. And there are. There are a lot of questions with this team. John Tortorella literally straight up said today that the goaltending scares him. And he is Sam Harrison's biggest fan.
Yeah.
And he straight up said on the record the goaltending scares him. It scares me too. I have
Same.
no idea what to expect. I am worried about the defense without Sean Walker because I don't know what they're going to get out of Jamie Drysdale. And I do not truly know how good Mishkov is going to be in his rookie year. But I think there are enough pieces here, and I think that the East is weak enough that the Flyers very well could be in the playoffs. And if I'm not willing to book an early May vacation because I'm that wondering if they're going to make it, then screw it. Why don't I just say they're going to make it?
I can't believe we did it, Kelly. We broke up that. No, I mean, there's a lot of analysis there, and it's a lot of things that make a ton of sense. The goaltending thing is, it scares all of, like, no one knows.
No.
But
if they miss the playoffs, it's probably
because of the goaltending. Yes.
Probably.
That would be, or injuries. We saw the Devils last year, both.
Yeah.
Both
Injuries
of those
are always
things.
the great equalizer,
But, like, I'm just thinking back to last year. Yeah, they banked a ton of points early, outperformed, but they were getting sub 900 goaltending for 2.5 months, and still it came down to game 82.
Yeah.
Like, if they can just be average goaltending wise, and the power play can just not be the worst thing we've ever seen, and I know these are huge asks coming from a season ago where both of those things were absolute disasters. But if they're just not disasters, not a freaking disaster, I can't come up with, who's going to keep them out? Buffalo? Yeah, sure.
Nope.
Like, like saying Buffalo or Detroit or Ottawa is going to make it is just as ridiculous.
Sure.
And none of them have John Tortorella.
I think it's worth noting, you make the John Tortorella point. It's worth noting that year 3s of Tortorella's tenures tend to go quite well. Year 3 of his Tampa Bay tenure, they made the playoffs. They got to round 2. Really, his first full, because the first year was a 43-game season. He comes in midway. His third full season, they won the Cup. I'm not expecting the Flyers to win the Cup, but they make the playoffs in his third season with Tampa. His third season with the Rangers, they make the playoffs. They have 93 points. Then season 4, they got 109. And then we go to Columbus. Third season in Columbus, also make the playoffs. So there is precedent for third season Tortorella being a good team. They took a big step forward last year. Perhaps they take another step forward this year, and maybe they don't just sneak in as a wild card. Maybe they are solidly in the top 3 in the Metro. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility. I wouldn't bet on it. I wouldn't go to Bet365 and bet on it personally, but I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility.
It's definitely realistic, which I kind of thought, like, at the end of last season, next year. Next year's going to be the reality check. And I don't feel that way anymore.
No.
I really don't. Yes, I'm a Flyers fan, and I want to be doing post-game shows for the playoffs. But also, I just look at them and go, it's not crazy. Like, the coin flip thing, I think that's very much it. So I'm going to say yes, because there's just as much chance they do as they don't. So why not?
Yeah.
All right. Those are our Flyers predictions. You can see them right there on that graphic. We all have them in the playoffs. There wasn't a ton of crossover between all of our answers, which I was pretty excited about. Like, leading scorer, I knew where that was going to go. So I was like, you know what I'm doing, connect me. But the rest of them, pretty good there. So those are our Flyers predictions. Before we get to our predictions for the rest of the league, I got to tell you, go get your damn flu shots, people.
Come on.
Go get your flu shots and do it at Rite Aid, because you don't want to miss the big game. You don't want to miss baseball playoffs coming up, Halloween, Thanksgiving. It sucks to be sick this time of year. So get a flu shot at Rite Aid, while at the pharmacy. Get all of your latest vaccines and all of that. Make sure you stay up to date on all of your vaccines, and you can even ask your pharmacist for a vaccine review or recommendations, because the CDC recommends getting a flu shot every year. A person's immune protection from vaccinations declines over time, so help protect yourself against the flu by getting your annual flu shot at Rite Aid today. And according to the CDC, flu vaccination may reduce a child's risk of severe life-threatening influenza by 75%. Help protect your family by getting flu shots at Rite Aid today. Flu viruses are constantly changing, according to the CDC. So get your annual flu shot, formulated to help protect you against this year's expected flu strains. Just walk into your local Rite Aid or schedule at riteaid.com. State age and health restrictions apply. Ask your Rite Aid pharmacist for details. And while we're here, all right, you got your flu shot, you're ready to go, you're having a good time. So kick back, back with an ice cold Coors Light.
I thought it was the other one.
No, between works, you were so excited. Between work, social media, and the choices life throws our way, it's no wonder we're more worked up than ever. Coors Light celebrates rising above and choosing a chill mindset. We're going to be freaking out all year. This team, they drive us absolutely nuts. We've been doing this a long time. I don't think anyone's getting any less fired up, and that's why sometimes we all need to make the choice to chill. And there's no better way to chill than with an ice-cold Coors Light. So whether you're freaking out like the head coach about the goalies, maybe you're freaking out about the Mad Russian, maybe you're freaking out about a certain Russian goaltender who's over in the KHL killing it right now. Whatever it is, you need to find the Blue Mountains in your fridge and enjoy a beer as cold as the Rockies, because when everything surrounding your favorite hockey team is on fire, sometimes you just got to chill. Make the most of the times you choose to chill. Choose Coors Light. Get Coors Light delivered straight to your door with Instacart by going to CoorsLight.com/PHLY Hockey. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. All right, rest of the league predictions. Let's hit these division winners to start it out. And we will start out in the Pacific. And this is the one, it's really hard not to choose the Edmonton Oilers.
Yeah.
Like, they're just really freaking good. They have the best player in the world.
Yeah.
They're coming off a Stanley Cup appearance. They seem to have maybe strengthened up the lineup a bit. And they also have young guys taking another step. I like the Edmonton Oilers here. There's not a ton of disagreement. I think we all picked them.
Yeah, whole division stinks, so they have a lot of opportunity to just roll over crappy teams.
That's the other end of this thing. Is it's not as if I don't believe in a lot of these teams. I know it's like bit everyone in the past, the Golden Knights, maybe not this year, and it's like, oh no, they won the Stanley Cup.
Right.
Yeah.
That could always happen. I just think the Kings aren't quite there. There's a couple rebuilding teams in the division, so there's probably going to be some huge points totals because you're probably gonna roll the Ducks and Sharks.
Mm-hmm.
I do like the Oilers.
Yeah,
I mean, it's Connor McDavid.
I just feel like they put up such a great point total and such a great record after basically not playing for the entire first month and a half of the season last year.
That's right, yeah.
Now they'll be starting out this year with Chris Knobloch, the coach. Who presumably is a better fit than the last coach, who they more or less just stopped playing for. I think the Oilers are going to have a real good year, at least in the regular season. It's hard for me to imagine a scenario where they're not real good.
Do I? I do agree. Yes, they're going to have a good. No, I was just. You said at least in the regular season, and I wanted to see who each of us had winning the West, and I was like, oh, okay, I got you. All right, the Central. As much as the Pacific, we all agreed. The Central, we all have different winners. And if I had to have guessed, I would have flipped your two answers.
So would I,
Kelly,
actually.
start with yours.
So I picked the Stars. I feel like the Stars for me are one of those teams like the Avalanche and like Tampa and Florida, really, where they've been smacked down enough times in the playoffs that they're going to eventually do it. And I feel like this might be the years that the Stars actually roll the whole way through. Like, they've been getting those incremental tastes of getting real close. And I think this might be the year that they put it all together.
It very well could be. And I am a noted Dallas Stars admirer. I like the way that obviously they've drafted. I like the way they build teams. I did not love their offseason. I did not like what they did with the defense. I do not think Matt Dumba is very good, and I don't think Lyubushkin is very good either. And I think they have put themselves in a position. I don't think they're not going to make the playoffs. They're too good. But I think they put themselves in a position with the acquisitions they made on defense that they're going to have to go out at the deadline and pay up for an actually good version of the guys they went out and they got.
Congratulations, Rasmus Ristolainen. You are a Dallas Star.
Oh, baby. Their goaltending's so good though.
If Andrae bounces back, because he was most of last year. He's obviously young. He's obviously very talented. So that would not shock me in the slightest. I went with the Avs.
Yeah.
Just because you can depend on them. They're a real good team. They have one of the best players in the world. Are they as deep as they once were? Probably not. But they do actually have some center depth this year because they got, what's his name? The guy from Buffalo. The middling stats.
yeah.
Middling
Middling
stats.
stats.
They
Our guy,
still
yeah.
have him for the full year.
Future Flyer.
Casey Middling stats. I believe there is still hope that at some point this year that Landeskog's going to come back.
Hopefully.
It seems like that is very much still in the mix as a possibility. I just think the Avs are a really good team, and I think they find a way to win that division.
That's Landeskog coming back, like, solves so much for them. We'll see what happens, but again, in the Central, I went out on a little bit of a limb here.
Where'd you go?
I'm going with the Nashville Predators.
All right.
And it's because of, listen, I like their offseason. It was fun. They get Marcia Show. They get Stamkos. They get Brady Shea. But what it comes down to for me, UC Saros. UC Saros put up a 906 last season, like 10, 12 points below his career low. I doubt that continues. I bet you he bounces back, and we have some of that positive regression that we see happen. And if he's a Vezina contender or Vezina winner, which I'm banking on, that's 110. Like that's just what it does for you. They're always a scrappy team. They're well run. It could just be one of those years for Nashville. I like the Nashville Predators.
That's a fun pick.
Yeah, I think as much as it hurt Tampa to lose Steven Stamkos because he was the face of the franchise, their captain, obviously has been a huge part of this era of the Lightning. I think in 4 years, we were going to look back and we were going to say that they are very thankful they did not sign Steven Stamkos to that contract. I think he showed signs of dropping off last year, especially in his underlying 505 metrics. And I would not be surprised if this year he does not provide Nashville anything like what they are hoping he's going to provide them.
I think that you're right, that the long term of the contract is like, maybe not.
Good.
But I think it makes sense for Tampa because they have a whole bunch of other mouths they need to feed.
And they replace him with Gensel.
And they go and get a younger, they go and get Jake Gensel. That's a nice replacement for them.
Yeah.
I think it makes sense for Tampa. What is the thing Nashville has always needed? Goal scoring. He can do that. He had over 40 goals last year. If they can just have him be Steven Stamkos sitting in his spot, pumping pucks in the net, and everyone else does the Nashville stuff, like, I think it's a good ad for them, in the position they're in.
You're onto something.
But, yeah, I don't think Stamkos is, like, winning the Hart Trophy this year. Like, those days are past for him.
Yeah.
But I think for that team and what they're hopefully going to use him as, it works, at least for one season. I have the Nashville Predators. Let's move to the East. The Atlantic Division, Charlie. You and I have the same answer for this. It is the Florida Panthers.
Yeah.
It's just hard not to pick them. Going through the playoffs, I just really question a team being able to do it 3 times in a row, get to the conference final, get to the Stanley Cup final. That takes a whole lot. I know we just saw Tampa do it a few times, but there's some shorter seasons in there. Yeah, there's some outlying circumstances. Doing it in an 82-game season 3 times in a row, and then the playoffs is freaking impossible.
Right.
Like, someone's going to die trying that. But in the regular season, you just look at their team and go, well, what's wrong with them? And every other team in the Atlantic, it's like, Boston's been really good in the regular season. Who the hell knows what the hell's going on over there right now? Toronto, I think, is going to hopefully. I think they could take steps in the postseason, but it's like, what matters? Right. Like, for us, does the regular season even matter? Not really. I like the Florida Panthers.
I think on paper they are one of the, if not the best team in hockey. Even with they took some losses this year on defense. But I don't think they're going to have a problem.
So too did they a year ago.
To roll. I just think they're stacked, and to me, it's a slam dunk. They win that division.
Kelly, you are the outlier.
I went Buds all day.
You went with the Leafs.
Listen,
you went with the Leafs here, and elsewhere you did not.
I did not. This team has to figure it out at some point.
Do they though?
They have to.
Do they actually?
They have too much. Like, they have to figure it out. At least partially. Figure it out enough to win their division is what I'm giving them this year. I think that they could probably win enough games to do that.
See, I think it's more likely that one of these years they just get lucky in the playoffs.
That could happen too.
I think there's a better chance of that because they have, for many of these years, gotten so unlucky that they are due for a year where everything breaks their way, where the team they play in the first round has their top 2 players get injured in game 1. Like, they're due for one of those years, but I don't think they're good enough to win the division.
All right.
I think they're good enough. I just think, like,
the Panthers are good.
Considerably, not even considerably. I just head-to-head, I would take the Panthers. But they are due for a year where things just go their way, right?
Yeah.
Like, they're Toronto. No, they're not.
I think they've gotten, since Treliving has taken over, I think they've deliberately made their roster worse. I think they are a worse team since he has taken over. And
They're tougher, Charles.
I have long believed that what is going to happen is they are going to be objectively worse. And in one of the years when they are objectively worse, that's the year they're going to get the good luck and they're going to win in the playoffs.
Yeah,
but I think they're worse in the sense of an 82-game schedule.
If your team is worse but injures the other team's best players, that's not luck. That's making your own luck.
That's strategy, baby.
All right, the Metro Division. I went with the New York Rangers.
Okay. Gross.
Both
of you seem to be giving the Rangers a lot of flowers on this list, and I hate you both for it.
The Rangers have a lot of high-end talent.
Listen, I know, but I'm A, not ready to acknowledge it, and B, not ready to put it into the universe that they're going to win a lot of things. I don't like it.
Okay.
So I'm not saying it out loud.
Shesterkin didn't put it together for like the first half last year, and they won the President's Trophy.
Yeah.
Like, if he's... And, Jonathan Quick played way over his head to keep them afloat. I don't think Jonathan Quick's still that good at 420 years old or whatever he is. But I just think they're the most talented team.
Okay. I am going with a little off-board pick. I'm going with the Devils.
Also gross.
I think the Devils, and I hate the Devils. I don't think the Devils should exist. Like, their very existence in this reality offends me. But I do think that last year was almost entirely driven by injuries and goaltending.
Oh, totally.
And the fact that they underachieved because they were legitimately very good the year before. Like, when we talk about, because this has been thrown around this show sometimes by people who I think are more doing wishful thinking than anything else, of like, well, we keep saying the Devils are going to be good, and they've never been good. They were good 2 years ago. They were real good 2 years ago.
That is correct. It is wishful thinking.
They won a playoff series.
Yeah.
I think they are at the very least, true talent-wise, that good. And honestly, I think they're better because they actually have a goalie. They went out and they got a goalie. They went out and they upgraded their blue line core. And I don't think Jack Hughes and Dougie Hamilton are going to be injured all year like they were last year. I think the Devils, talent-wise, because I think the Rangers played a bit over their heads last year in terms of not controlling play at 5-on-5 and leaning almost entirely on their power play. And I think the Canes lost some key players. I think they're going to take a step back this year just from a true talent standpoint. And I think the Devils are going to take a big step up. So I'm going a little off board, and I'm just going to say the Devils win that division.
It's it's not crazy. And I just think the Devils, I think they're good. I just got to see it first. Mm-hmm. But Charlie, you're not as off board as you think they are. At Bet365, Devils second shortest odds to win the Stanley Cup behind only the Oilers.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah, I think it's insane.
Who's making the odds?
I think a lot of people were targeting the Devils early, like, oh, they're going to bounce back in a big way. And then they were like, well, we have to really shorten these odds because we have there's a huge Devils hold right now. We got to back people off the Devils. And Kelly, you have...
I think the Canes. Because...
The absolute Canes.
The absolute Canes. Much like the Stars, and I know that they're not the same team as they were last season, but they are being led by the smartest man alive. And I just feel like, again, this is a team that has learned a lot of lessons from being smacked down in the playoffs that I think eventually they're going to figure it out. And I think this might be the year the Canes figure it out.
All right, before we wrap this up, I just want to thank all of our diehards out there. If you're not a diehard, sign up at allphly.com. Yeah. I mean, just for the Flyers content alone, Charlie O'Connor's premium content is but you get so many other benefits. But to those of you who are already subscribers, thank you. All right, so President's Trophy, Kelly.
I said the Oilers because I think that of the teams that are very good, they are going to have the most opportunity to bank a lot of points against crappy teams. So I think that...
When I was talking about the rebuilding teams out there, I was like, oh, yeah, I probably should have factored that into my President's Trophy selection when mine came out of the Central. It's like, oh, it's like nothing but good teams.
Yeah.
Like they're all mediocre or better. I went with the Preds, and that's simply because I think UC Soros is going to put up a 930
You're
this year.
I like
real
it.
high on the Preds this year.
I think UC Soros is going to put up a 930 this year.
Wow.
I obviously wasn't thinking that well about like the division they're in and everything, but
If he's that good,
if he's that good, why not?
Yeah, I'm going with the Panthers. I think they're the best team on paper. I think they showed that last year. I think that they are ripe for a playoff upset. They're not my team to win the cup, but I think in an 82-game schedule, they are the best team, and they will win the President's Trophy.
All right, let's go through our conference champions and Stanley Cup champs. Charlie, you and I have the same conference champs, Oilers and Rangers.
Really?
I went with the Rangers taking it all, though.
gross.
Yeah, I did not go with the Rangers taking it all. The reason why I picked the Rangers is because, number one, they have Shesterkin. And I fully believe that Shesterkin can ride him to a cup final. It's destined to happen one of these years. And I also think that you had Jacob Trouba straight up say, and granted, he's a little biased because I think he was even more speaking about himself than he was about the core. But he basically said, this kind of is the last chance for this core, this leadership group.
For Jacob Trouba,
For Jacob Trouba, it definitely is. This is his last year on the team, to be sure.
Yes.
But I think there might be a feeling in that room going into the playoffs of, if we don't do it now, are we going to ever do it? And I just think that might give them that little bit of extra motivation to win a tight playoff series. They went real far last year. I just think if Florida gets upset, and I just have a feeling that they're going to have a great regular season and then they're going to run out of steam because they've been playing so much hockey over the last couple of years. If Florida gets upset, I don't know if there's a team that can beat Shesterkin, that can overwhelm. Because the thing with the Rangers is they never play that well. It's just they have great high-end talent, and then they have one of the, if not the best goalie in the world. The reason why Florida beats them is because Florida can just overwhelm them with so much volume and quality that not even Shesterkin can handle it. If Florida's out, I don't know if there's another team in the East that can. And that's why I went with the Rangers.
Kelly went off the board from Charlie and I. You have Stars Hurricanes in the conference final. Who do you have winning?
You went with my pick. This was my final last year.
Was
Stars
it?
Canes. Yeah.
It seems like that's a very our show selection. These are teams that we're constantly talking about.
I made these
And I like
selections this morning, and I hate all of them now, actually. But I mean, I'll stand by them. I think that it would involve upsets in the playoffs, which I personally think are fun. So I like rooting for them when it's not the Flyers. Unless the Flyers are the ones doing the upsetting, obviously. But yeah, I could see these two teams getting there in the end. Maybe Shesterkin gets hurt. Oh no.
You'd be devastated.
Maybe.
I am 100% going with the Oilers to win the cup.
Yeah,
I think this is their year.
I think
this is the year they got to Game 7. McDavid saw it. He was so close. This is the year where he just says, "There's no way we're losing."
I know, but also I feel like they're a team that's like so good at choking.
And I think
They could be choking.
I'm picking the Rangers partially because I think they're really good, and also because I think such a championship in the division will motivate the Flyers to then go, all right, it's time. We can't have this. We simply cannot abide. And rebuild over, time to have some fun. That's my hope.
Oh, boy.
Listen, man.
Don't hate
The last time the Rangers won the cup, it set in motion a series of events that led the Flyers to their best time of our lifetime.
You make a fair point.
That's all I'm saying. They didn't win a cup, but they got there.
We had a lot of fun,
They got there.
We had a lot of fun.
Okay.
All right, let's run through the awards real quick.
All right.
I had it right in front of me. There we go. Let's start with the Vezina. I've been talking about Saros this whole time. I'm going Saros.
I went Shesterkin.
I went Thatcher Demko.
Kelly off the board with Thatcher Demko.
Like injured.
Is he injured?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
It's
crap.
It's unclear when he is going to be healthy.
Oh, I didn't realize he was injured.
Yeah.
He has to. I heard his body just has limitations now, and he has to relearn the position.
In that case, I'm probably not right on this one.
All right, the Selke Trophy. I decided that because he's
look at this guy.
because he's
William.
this is his path to the Bobby Clarke Trophy.
Okay,
Is
that's
that
true.
he's the best two-way forward in hockey
You
again?
have to keep your universe correct.
Yeah, he's Sean Couturier.
Okay.
He's back, and guess what? He's the best two-way forward. Suck it, Barkov.
Yeah. I had Austin Matthews.
Okay.
He got real close last year.
Yeah.
I think there's a legitimate chance for Matthews, like after last year, them just going like, well, we got to give him something.
Yeah, right.
He's never going to put up quite the points of McDavid, but if he scores close to 70 again and he's really good as a two-way forward, it's like, all right, Barkov got his. It's time for Matthews.
This is, to be fair to Charles, one of those trophies that they like to give to the same guy over and over again.
This is my thought process. Is
It's
that
his trophy now.
Barkov is now Bergeron.
Yeah.
And unless someone else has a drop-dead, incredible, narrative-changing year, most of the voters who don't even really know how to judge two-way play at all are just going to be like, oh, yeah, Barkov scored 90 and was real good again. I'm voting for him. So I think this is the new Barkov award.
That's fair.
All right, the Norris for the best defenseman. Kelly, you meant Quinn Hughes,
Yeah, I
right?
did.
Now you're not going Luke.
No, Quinn Hughes, only because much like the Selke, I feel like this is an award that they like to give to the same guy over and over again if he has consistently good years. So
I feel like there's just a group right now. And because it was Hughes' turn last year,
They're gonna give
I think
it to
it's
another
coming
guy?
up. I think it's coming up on Miro Heiskanen's
okay.
turn.
Look, I love Miro Heiskanen, and I think there is a world where he might deserve the Norris, but he's not. And one of these years, he's going to explode and probably have 85, 90 points. But until then, I don't know if he wins it because he just doesn't have the point production.
Yeah.
The reason why I went with Evan Bouchard is because after that long playoff run, everybody knows who he is. He's got his name out there.
Yeah.
Now he's a well-known defenseman, and I could see a world where he puts up an insane amount of points on that power play with McDavid.
I was honestly gonna go Bouchard because I assumed you were going Heiskanen. And then when I saw your selection, I changed mine.
Okay.
Because I was like, well,
What
I'm
a
gonna
team player.
I'm gonna take the one Charlie was gonna do. MVP, the Hart Trophy. I'm going Austin Matthews for this one.
Okay.
After last year, I honestly realized that there were some insane point totals. But if you score 69 goals and are one of the two best forwards in two-way forwards in hockey, I honestly don't know how you're not even a finalist.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
This seems to be the meaning of value. You play offense, you play defense, you do both at an elite level.
He's real good.
I don't know. We know this comes down to point totals a lot, but last year they did go a little. I mean, there were two guys who had 100 assists last year, and because it was like, well, this is Nate McKinnon's award in like November, it just stayed that way.
Right.
First year with
He had the narrative last year.
First year with the C. It's a new day in Toronto. He's playing for Craig Berube, so we're just gonna assume he's gritty now. And I just like Austin Matthews.
I just think that McDavid last year spent probably the first month and a half to 2 months of the year playing injured, missed some time, and still scored 100 assists and 132 points. To me, if he's healthy, it's his award.
Oh, I just simply went with the best player in the league, Nate McKinnon.
Nate McKinnon.
Yeah.
No, I didn't go with like an Art Ross here because it's like, well, this is pointless. It's like that's McDavid and stuff. But the Hart, sometimes they can mix it up. And finally, I wanted to save the Calder for last
You
because
better not have been the jerk who didn't take Mishkov.
Wow. No, I think Stankoven has a distinct advantage in that he's not actually a rookie. The limit is 25 NHL games. He played 24 last year in the regular season.
He's doing the Panarin.
And then 19 in the playoffs. This is a veteran. And he gets to play on a considerably better team. Now, you might hold that against him in the voting where it's like, well, Mishkov is the best player on his team and Stankoven's like the fifth best player on his team.
Exactly.
But I just think he has the opportunity to put up the big numbers. Also, yes, I have bet on Matvei Mishkov, so it's not as if I don't think he can do it. Maybe I'm trying to reverse jinx here.
My opinion, and I think I said this on our show.
Oh, we still have super
in
chats.
the summer.
Jesus.
I believe I said this on our show in the summer, was that the reason why I don't love Stankoven as a Calder pick is because as opposed to Mishkov, as opposed to even somebody like Celebrini, Stankoven is going to be, from an ice time and usage standpoint, in the second tier on Dallas because they have guys like Robertson, they have guys like Hintz who are going to get the big minutes that Stankoven won't necessarily get, whereas Mishkov, I think, is going to get the big minutes.
And
he's
East
going to get
Coast
a
bias.
lot of minutes.
Never discount East Coast bias.
Never discount.
That's true. Dallas, no one cares for Texas.
Dallas,
yeah,
sorry.
no one knows what's going on down there. All right, those are our predictions for the season. We will have the graphics out on social media, so you could all roast us a little later.
You can delete my one where I messed up and picked the injured goalie.
It's fine.
Britta,
So
give
who
me
you
a solid.
picking? Who you
Just
picking
like scribble it out.
to replace Demko?
Shesterkin.
Shesterkin. Okay.
It's just Sturgeon. All right, that's fair. All right, let's hit those super chats.
Super chats.
All right.
Ayo.
Not as many today, so we can get through these. From JH, sweeping generalizations is our job. Charlie, yours is to
Toil in the
article minds and help everyone on Twitter with their stream troubleshooting. It's funny because we were just talking about this before the show.
Before the show.
I don't
Charlie's
understand why
committed to the
people
bit.
think
He's
I can
never
help
going to
them.
answer you.
No, it's just like
Just
it's not
Google it.
even. It's not even something that infuriates me. It's honestly just mystifying. Like I can't help you. I don't work for NBC Sports Philly. I don't work for the
trust you,
league.
Charles.
I don't work for the Flyers. There are other people who are better people to ask about streams than me. I don't know. I can't help you. Sorry.
All right, I love it. I love it so much. All right, let's go to Linden49. Says, of the three who do the thing that makes the what?
Of the three,
Who do you think makes the team?
Jett, Lycksell, or Richard? Old-time Flyers trivia. Who was runner-up to Bobby Orr for Rookie of the Year?
I believe it was. I think it was Leach. I don't remember.
I don't.
I looked this.
Really?
I looked this up the other day.
Lyndon, tell us who it is.
I
in
was
the
like,
chat.
how didn't they win Rookie of the Year? I was like, oh, Bobby Orr. That makes sense.
Yeah.
But I can't remember who. Of the three, I think it ends up being Lycksell. But the coach is going to have his say with Luchanko, right?
It's probably going to be Lycksell, but I want it to be Jett.
I think Lycksell makes the most sense. That said, they spoke pretty highly of Tony Dick today.
They'd be like,
Don't rule that possibility
He's been okay. He's been good for them.
Yeah.
Could come down to that Thursday game against the
Yeah,
Albany River Rats.
we'll
But
see.
I'm going to go with Lycksell for this one.
There you go.
Since we're doing predictions today. And finally, from Zach Anderson, are you going to watch the Amazon
Def.
NHL series? Yeah, it looks real good.
oh, Def.
I will say they're
love
doing a really strong job right now. This is like they said it on Chicklets today. I've seen it around the Twitterverse where they're like, teams are asking Amazon to cut some stuff out and they just won't. Like that's some real good marketing.
That is good marketing.
No, they don't.
gets me
I
right
bet you
in.
they have, but it's like they put it in the trailer, like McDavid freaking out on the team in Florida.
Yeah.
That's great.
And that's great.
That's
That's
high
But
quality.
yeah, that's what people want.
That's what
and
people
maybe
want.
yes, this is the NHL, so they probably want everyone to look like not a star.
They want to look like robots.
so then they don't have to pay their stars because
Right.
the last thing we want is just turning into the NBA.
We don't want more people watching.
We want a league people watch and care about.
Oh, that's too much money.
But
for
I think it's very good marketing on someone's part to put
It
that
is,
out there.
yes.
But I'll definitely be watching.
For
It looks
sure.
really good. All right, I think that's finally it. I think we
Ed
did
Van
it.
Imp is the answer. Lyndon
Ed
told us.
Van Imp.
Thank you, Lyndon.
Damn, I did not
What a
see that
pull.
one. All right.
Never would have gotten that.
I know I looked up something the other day and I was like, oh, really? And it was like, oh, Bobby Orr. But all right, that is all the time we have for you on PHLY Flyers today. Thank you all for listening. Thank you for hanging out. If you haven't already, you got to hit that subscribe button. Follow us right here on YouTube. Set those reminders so you never miss a live show. We'll be back tomorrow at our normal time, 4 o'clock. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at PHLY_Flyers and follow the podcast wherever you get those. Just search PHLY Flyers. My name is Bill Matz. That's Charlie O'Connor. That's Kelly Hinkle. Until tomorrow, you stay loose and sexy, Philly.
We all silly like the mayor.